spy stories, political thrillers, romantic tragedies, moral dramas. Few writers could move so fluidly between genres as Graham Greene, and fewer still could combine page-turning suspense with profound moral questioning. Over his career, Greene gave us unforgettable classics like The Quiet American, The End of the Affair, Brighton Rock, The Power and the Glory, The Third Man, A Burnt-Out Case, and Our Man in Havana. His novels are populated by conflicted lovers, haunted priests, doomed spies, and ordinary men caught in extraordinary webs of politics, faith, and betrayal. Greene himself described his work as being divided between entertainment and serious novels, but the truth is, every one of his stories offers both. So, which are the very best? Let's count down the top 5 Graham Greene novels of all time. In at number 5, I have Brighton Rock. On the surface, this is a crime thriller set in a seemingly harmless English seaside resort. But Greene turns Brighton into a moral battlefield. The story follows Pinky Brown, a 17-year-old gang leader whose baby-faced innocence hides a pitiless cruelty. After a journalist threatens to expose his role in a murder, Pinky eliminates witnesses and traps Rose, a naive young waitress, in a rushed marriage to keep her from testifying. The third key player, Ida Arnold, isn't a cop or a gangster. She's a warm-hearted busybody driven by a simple moral code. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Her pursuit of justice becomes a counterforce to Pinky's moral void. There are themes of sin, damnation, and Catholic ideas of eternal punishment haunt every scene. Greene's genius lies in making Brighton's carnival rides and pierfront amusements feel like they're spinning above an abyss. In at number 4 is The Power and the Glory. Set in Mexico in the 1930s. Catholicism is outlawed. The government's purge has driven priests into hiding, exile, or even execution. Only one remains, a nameless whiskey priest, disgraced by his own moral failings. He drinks, he has an illegitimate daughter, and he lives in fear. But he cannot abandon his calling. As he moves from village to village, hunted by a relentless lieutenant, he hears confessions, performs mass, and administers last rites, even when it risks his own life. Along the way, Greene paints portraits of the poor and dispossessed who cling to faith despite oppression. I would say that this is Greene's most overtly theological work, asking if a flawed, broken man can still be a vessel for grace. The lieutenant represents secular idealism stripped of compassion. The whiskey priest himself, a paradoxical holiness born from weakness. The cat and mouse tension drives the plot, but the real climax is spiritual. In at 3 is The End of the Affair. London during the Blitz. Writer Maurice Bendrix begins a passionate affair with Sarah Miles, the wife of a civil servant. Their love is dangerous but intoxicating, until one night, during a bombing raid, Sarah abruptly ends it without explanation. Years later, still consumed by jealousy and longing, Bendrix hires a private detective to find out why. What he uncovers is not another man, but a private vow. In that bombing, believing Bendrix was dead, Sarah promised God she would give him up if he lived. She keeps that promise, though it destroys her happiness. Told through Bendrix's bitter, self-lacerating narration, the novel blurs the line between romantic obsession and religious transformation. By the end, Sarah's absence becomes a presence, an unseen force changing every life she touched. It's both a love story and a study of how faith can rupture desire. In at number 2, I have chosen The Quiet American. 1950s Vietnam. Thomas Fowler, a weary British journalist, wants to avoid both emotional and political entanglement. But his comfortable detachment is threatened when Alden Pyle arrives, a young American aid worker whose idealism masks dangerous political meddling. Fowler and Pyle both fall for Phuong, a beautiful Vietnamese woman. While Fowler clings to her as an anchor against loneliness, Pyle sees her as a part of his vision for a better Vietnam. Meanwhile, Pyle's covert actions fuel a deadly insurgency. This love triangle becomes a metaphor for foreign intervention. Fowler as the cynical old world, Pyle as the naive but lethal new world, Phuong as the nation caught in between. The novel's release angered American readers, but history has only sharpened its prophetic edge. Greene turns a political critique into an intimate moral crisis. When people sometimes ask what my favourite book of all time is, I'm often tempted to say this one, Graham Greene's Our Man in Havana. Pre-revolutionary Cuba, Jim Wormold is a British vacuum cleaner salesman struggling to make ends meet. When he's approached by British intelligence to become a spy, he accepts. Not out of patriotism, but because the money will help support his daughter's expensive tastes. There is, however, one significant problem. Wormhold has no information to send, so he fabricates it. He invents agents, forges reports, and even sends technical drawings of vacuum cleaner parts claiming they're parts of secret military installations. At first, it's harmless farce, but when London takes his fiction seriously, real spies, real assassinations, and real danger begin to close in. The comedy turns deadly, showing how bureaucracy and misinformation can spiral into catastrophe. Beneath its wit, Greene delivers one of his sharpest satires of the Cold War, a world where truth and lies are interchangeable, and survival often depends on playing both sides. So there we have it, my top 5 Graham Greene books. Would you agree with my order? Hopefully I've encouraged you to pick up a few Graham Greenes yourself too. I highly recommend that you try him out. And please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.